Good evening and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. Yes, it has been a long time. Life has been lifing. Um, I hope to be on a lot more. I know in a week or so, I will have a lot more time in my hands with the layoff. So, yeah, we're going to get back into the NBA swing of things. Of course, I'm going to give you a Nick topic. I do want to expand more into the NBA, all over the NBA, but our my core audience right now are Knicks fans. So we're going to talk about what Knicks fans want to talk about, and one of the subjects is Dink Pate. And Dink Pate kind of was a surprise over the summer, over summer league. He was an undrafted rookie. Um, Definitely a nice prospect. When I was looking through the draft, great size. Someone who can play multiple positions. 6'8", you can't teach that. And someone 6'8" that can play point guard is very intriguing. For the Knicks to pick him up was very smart. And in the summer league, he wasn't given wasn't really given anything. We saw that he put in that like dog effort into the summer league to like kind of crack the lineup. And after cracking the lineups toward the end of the summer league, he put in some nice performances. I think a lot of Knicks fans thought, "Hey, oh, he just earned himself a spot on the roster just because metrics again 6'8" could play point guard." But the Knicks, when they put the list out for summer league, he was not. I'm sorry, not summer league, but for training camp, he was not on this training camp roster. He was signed by the Knicks and cut, so he actually never played in training camp. Basically, the Knicks wanted to get dibs for Westchester, so that's what they did. They signed him and cut him. So a lot of people will look at that and say, "Hey, maybe they just didn't care about Dink Pate." But I think there's always been a plan for Dink Pate. Even though he didn't get one of the two-way spots, I don't think the Knicks are in a serious danger of losing him. Just how things are fashioned in the NBA, it would be very unlikely the Knicks to lose Dink Pate. Even though I know a lot of people are advertising that the Knicks are leaving him vulnerable. Technically, that's true, but the Knicks know the other teams around the league and how they operate. And right now, it wouldn't make sense for another team to pick up Dink Pate right now. And I think that's why the Knicks put other people in the two-way spots. I was kind of shocked when they put other people because I thought this is the one player I thought would have been protected. I saw when Tosin was made available, that made sense. When McCullough was made available, that makes sense. But the only surprise out of the two ways is that we used a two-way on another center when we already had three centers on the roster. We haven't played them that much, but we've seen flashes. So it wasn't just a bum two-way pick, as Lee would say. I think the Knicks actually knew what they were doing. So can Leon Rose save Dink Pate? And I think he does. He does plan to save Dink Pate, and eventually Dink Pate we'll see him on the court this year for the Knicks. And how are we going to do that? So he is a player for the Westchester Knicks. He is not a two-way player, so he is not in practices with the New York Knicks. He's not hanging out with Jalen Brunson. There is no connection to the New York Knicks outside of he's within their organization. Two-way players have the advantage of being able to go back and forth. so he does not have that advantage. So he is not learning from Jalen Brunson. That type of development isn't happening. His development is happening at Westchester and exclusively at Westchester. So what does that mean? Um, since he's a plain Westchester player, any team can pick him up and put him on an NBA roster. Um, However, another team can't pick him up and put him on their G League roster. So with the Knicks, a very pretty sure bet is that no other team is going to give Dink Pate an NBA contract because just the timing is bad. Uh, you see around the NBA there are no 10-day contracts going out. 10-day contracts don't start until January 5th. So, if any team wants Dink Pate, they would have to sign him to their roster. They would have to like him enough to say, "Hey, he's an NBA player. I'm going to pay him like an NBA player, and I can't just pick him up and throw him back without paying him for the whole season." Pretty much, they could do something little. There are little options there, but pretty much that is the thought there. The Knicks are hedging that other teams do not like Dink Pate enough that the sight unseen, I'm going to give him a contract for the entire year. The date that they do have to worry about is January 5th. So once January 5th happens, other teams can go through the G League and say, "Hey, I want you for 10 days." And they could put two 10-day contracts together before signing them to an NBA contract. So you want to kind of test drive the player to make sure that's what you really want before you sign them to a contract. That's what the Knicks are betting on. So if the Knicks are going to do that, something has to change before January 5th. I do think the Knicks may make a trade. I know we're hearing a lot of Jose Alvarado buzz. We're hearing Dante DiFrancesco buzz, but it doesn't even necessarily have to do with that. They could simply drop one of the two-way players and add Dink Pate as a two-way player. They don't actually have to make a move. But I think by January 5th, the Knicks will be making a move. So I don't think he's in any danger. So I think you can rest assured there. But I see a lot of content creators talking about Dink Pate, and they're saying, "Hey, he has to be on this team. Hey, he could be better than Kolek." But you have to look at the numbers. Don't just look at his best game where he put in a triple double. We see he's shooting poorly. He's shooting 30 under 35% from the field and under 28% from three. So is that going to earn you NBA minutes? No, but I think as a two-way, he can learn from just interacting with the guys. I don't think he's in any way going to crack, third string point guard. I think he's still in the learning phase. But one thing I've really enjoyed from him is he looks like he's hungry and looks like he's willing to learn, and that's half the battle. We saw with Deuce McBride, he for several years didn't look quite right. But when he got it. And I think that's kind of where I am with Dink Pate, is maybe at one point the light just goes on and it just works. So I totally think Leon Rose is going to save Dink Pate. I don't think there's any issue there. I don't think there's the Knicks are not dropping the ball. I think they're just using the system, and at the right time, they're going to make the right uh, decision and make him a two-way player. I don't see him being signed. Um, I could see him being signed as a two-way. At the same time, I could see him being signed as an NBA player by the Knicks later in the year if it makes sense. If anybody has any questions, just throw in the chat. I know I don't really want to get into the whole Jose Alvarado thing today or the Dante. I want to try to go live tomorrow and have a whole video on those, and then I do hope to have like a Mitch conversation, but I really want to bring on a guest for that. Have a Mitch conversation because I have my feelings, and there's some people who have totally different feelings when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, and I think they should be represented, and I think we could probably learn from each other. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. I know this is a short conversation. Please please subscribe. There's a lot more shows coming up. So please stay tuned. I want to try to give people a little advance for just jumping on. So please, thank you for hanging in there with me, even though I did kind of give you a gap in there. But I'm hoping to do a whole lot more shows. I thank everybody for joining me, and I thank you, and you have a good night.